Hi, my name is Brittany Demmitt, and I'm a graduate student in the Molecular, Cellular, and Developmental Biology program, and I'm also part of the Institute for Behavioral Genetics. I study the human microbiome, and I study the environmental and host genetic effects on the oral microbiome. So as you may know, microbes exist absolutely everywhere. They exist in the ocean, so here you can see cyanobacteria blooming in the ocean. That's those green pretty swirls that we see. They've been shown to exist in subway air, like when you travel in New York City. They exist in the yogurt that you eat, and they also exist all over your body, and those are referred to as the human microbiome. And so microbes are not just passive guests when they exist in the environment, but they're very active. So if you think way back to your junior high science class, you may remember learning about the nitrogen cycle and how there are microbes in the soil that would reduce nitrogen to help the cycle take place and the plants to continue to grow. And what's really cool is the microbes that live inside your mouth are actually doing a very similar process where they're reducing nitrogen just like they do in the nitrogen cycle. So the microbes that live in your body are very active and they're playing a role in your health. And so the question our lab is interested in is what influences those microbes that exist in the human microbiome. So we study the microbes that live inside your mouth. And so this is referred to as the oral microbiome. So here's just a microscopy picture of the microbes that are in your mouth. So you can see they're all globular. And here's a cartoon picture of that as well. And so here we have at the bottom a tooth surface. And microbes have actually co-evolved to recognize your tooth surface and attach to them. And more microbes recognize those microbes and they attach and they form this complex, what is called a biofilm structure where they exist as a community. And so whenever you've brushed your teeth and you've scraped off some white plaque, that's actually your microbes, your oral biofilm. And so that's the question that the Crowder Lab likes to ask, is what influences the oral microbiome? And in particular, we're looking at two main areas of research. One is drug use, such as alcohol, tobacco, marijuana, methamphetamine. How do these drugs influence the oral microbiome? As well as your host genetic information, or your DNA. So we are now expanding our study to look at human genetics. So how does your DNA influence the microbes that live inside your mouth? And to do that, we're using individuals that we've been collecting over the last 20 years. We have about 18,000 people's spit in our freezer. So I'll show you some of that now. So in our freezer, we have tubes and tubes of people's saliva. And what we've been able to do with this is for about 4,000 individuals, sequence their microbes as well as their human DNA. And so what this allows us to do is begin to ask the question, what genes are influencing the microbes that live inside your mouth? With that information, we can better understand the community structure of the microbes, what influences them and causes their structure to be the way they are, and hopefully, ideally, develop better prevention and treatment techniques for oral diseases as well as systemic.